God says, listen closely, my beloved soul, because this moment has been arranged with precision, not urgency, and certainly not fear. You did not arrive here by chance, and this message did not find you randomly. There is a quiet alignment happening around your life right now, and it began the instant you chose integrity over convenience, patience over reaction, and faith over frustration. That single choice, small in appearance, powerful in consequence, set something in motion that is now unfolding beyond what you could have planned on your own. Stay with these words for a moment and feel the calm beneath them, because what is coming is not sudden chaos or dramatic change, but a carefully guided shift that brings stability, provision, and a new environment suited to who you are becoming. You may have noticed subtle signs already. Conversations that felt different, opportunities that appeared unexpectedly, or a sense that your current place no longer fits the way it once did. These are not coincidences. They are signals of preparation. God says there is someone of influence watching from a distance, not with judgment, but with respect. A person whose resources are substantial, whose reach is wide, and whose decisions affect many lives. This person noticed something about you that stood out quietly. Your consistency when no one was applauding, your honesty when shortcuts were available, your willingness to do the right thing even when it cost you comfort. That single action, performed without expectation, spoke louder than years of self-promotion ever could. Understand this clearly. Relocation does not always mean a physical move alone. Sometimes it begins as a shift in responsibility, access, or environment. Sometimes it means being placed among people who think differently, plan differently, and live with a broader vision. God says you are being repositioned because your character matched an opportunity. That required trust. When trust is present, provision follows naturally. You may be wondering why now, after so much waiting. The answer is simple and gentle. Timing is not about readiness alone, it is about alignment. You are aligned now, not desperate, not rushed, not seeking validation, but grounded. That grounding makes you capable of receiving without losing yourself. It makes you able to step into a new space without carrying old fears with you. There is also reassurance here. This shift is not meant to separate you from what matters. It is meant to bring those connected to you into a safer, more stable season. God says what is unfolding carries collective benefit. Peace for your household. Relief from long-standing pressure. Breathing room where there was once tension. Expansion where things felt tight and limited. Do not try to figure out every detail yet. Clarity will come in stages, and each stage will arrive with calm confirmation rather than anxiety. Pay attention to doors that open without struggle, invitations that feel respectful, and conversations that come with mutual understanding. These are markers of divine alignment, not coincidence. For now, remain steady. Continue being who you have been when no one was watching. The same integrity that began this process is what will sustain it. Nothing here is fragile. Nothing here is rushed. What is meant for you is approaching with intention, and it will recognize you by the same quality that set everything in motion in the first place. As this message continues, allow your mind to slow down and your heart to remain open, because what is unfolding now is not about sudden luck or temporary favor, but about a long-prepared alignment that has been quietly forming around your life. God says many people never realize how much weight one sincere action can carry, especially when it is done without expectation, recognition, or reward. But heaven never overlooks consistency, humility, and obedience shown in silence. That one thing you did was not dramatic in the eyes of the world. It may have looked ordinary, even insignificant. Yet in the spiritual realm, it carried authority. You chose honesty when bending the truth would have been easier. You chose responsibility when walking away would have protected you. You chose patience when reacting emotionally would have felt justified. God says that choice created a ripple effect far beyond what you could see at the time, and now that ripple is returning to you in the form of provision and repositioning. This wealthy man did not appear randomly in your path. God says his heart was already prepared to recognize character before opportunity. He is someone who values trust over talent and loyalty over speed. When he observed you, directly or indirectly, he did not see someone asking for help. He saw someone capable of carrying responsibility without becoming overwhelmed by it. That is why relocation is part of the plan. You are being placed where your character will not be wasted, where your effort will actually build something stable. Relocation also speaks of protection. God says there are environments you have outgrown, pressures you were never meant to carry forever, and limitations that no longer match your capacity. Sometimes staying where you are would slowly drain your potential. So a move becomes mercy, not disruption. A change of place becomes a change of atmosphere, where peace is allowed to replace constant struggle. You might feel both excitement and uncertainty rising together. That is natural. Growth often feels unfamiliar before it feels comfortable. God says do not interpret unfamiliarity as danger. This transition is being handled with care. You will not be rushed. You will not be forced. Each step will come with confirmation, not confusion. You will know when it is time because things will begin to line up without pressure. There is also reassurance here for those connected to you. God says this shift carries covering, not separation. It is meant to bring stability to your household, to create a safer emotional and financial foundation, and to remove stress that has quietly weighed on you for a long time. What is being prepared is not just a new place, but a new pace of life, one where you can breathe, plan, and grow without constant anxiety. Stay attentive, but remain calm. Do not announce everything too early. Some blessings mature best in quiet preparation. Continue doing what you have always done, showing up with integrity, speaking truthfully, and handling small responsibilities with care. These are the very qualities that opened this door, and they will also guide you safely through it. Nothing here is accidental. Nothing here is late. God says you are exactly where you need to be to receive what is coming next. And as this process unfolds, you will look back and realize that one simple decision you made, when no one was watching, became the reason everything began to change. As this message moves deeper, allow yourself to notice how your perspective is already shifting. God says the relocation being prepared is not simply about changing surroundings, it is about restoring momentum where things once felt slow and heavy. For a long time, you carried responsibilities quietly, adjusted your expectations, and learned how to remain steady even when progress seemed limited. That season taught you discipline, patience, and emotional strength. Now those lessons are becoming the very foundation for what comes next. God says the wealthy man connected to this transition does not see you as someone to rescue, but as someone to trust. Trust is the currency of meaningful opportunity. It is built when a person proves reliable over time, when they handle small matters with care, and when they remain consistent even without recognition. You demonstrated this without knowing who was watching, and that is why the shift approaching your life feels calm rather than chaotic. Calm transitions last longer because they are rooted in readiness, not urgency. You may sense that certain doors around you are quietly closing while others feel unexpectedly accessible. This is not loss. It is refinement. God says you are being moved away from environments that restricted your growth and toward spaces where your abilities will be respected and expanded. Sometimes protection looks like redirection. Sometimes favor looks like distance from what once felt familiar. Familiarity can be comforting, but it can also limit vision when it no longer matches who you have become. There is also an emotional preparation happening alongside the practical one. God says you are learning to receive without guilt and to accept help without feeling small. This is important, because elevation requires humility and confidence to exist together. You are not being lifted because you demanded more. You are being lifted because you remained faithful where you were placed. That faithfulness is now meeting provision. Pay attention to how conversations unfold around you. Notice which discussions bring clarity rather than confusion, which plans feel stable rather than rushed, and which opportunities come with mutual respect. These are indicators of alignment. God says when alignment is present, effort feels lighter even when responsibility increases. You will not feel like you are struggling to prove yourself. You will feel invited to contribute. There may also be moments where doubt tries to surface, asking whether you deserve this shift or whether it will last. God says do not argue with doubt. Simply return to truth. The same character that sustained you before will sustain you after the move. You are not becoming someone new to receive this blessing. You are being recognized for who you already are. As this part settles, remember that relocation is a process, not a single moment. Preparation happens internally before it becomes visible externally. Continue to move with patience. Continue to act with integrity. Continue to keep your plans grounded rather than announced. What is unfolding does not need defense or explanation. It needs space to mature. God says you are not late, and you are not early. You are precisely aligned. The next steps will arrive naturally, without force, and when they do, you will recognize them by the peace they bring rather than the noise they create. As this message comes to its completion, God says it is important for you to understand the deeper meaning of what is unfolding, because this shift is not only about location, provision, or opportunity, it is about restoration of dignity, stability, and peace. For a long time, you carried weight that was never meant to stay with you forever. You learned how to survive under pressure, how to stay composed when answers were delayed, and how to keep moving even when certainty was absent. That endurance shaped you quietly, and now it is giving way to relief. God says the relocation being prepared is a response to faithfulness, not perfection. You were not chosen because you never struggled. You were chosen because you kept your heart steady even while struggling. That steadiness is rare, and it is trusted. The environment you are being moved into will reflect that trust. It will be a place where your voice is heard, your efforts are valued, and your presence contributes to something meaningful, rather than draining. You may notice now that fear is slowly losing its grip. Where you once worried about how things would work out, you are beginning to feel a quiet confidence that things will align when they need to. That confidence is not based on circumstances, it is based on inner assurance. God says when assurance arrives, it means preparation is complete. What comes next does not require you to fight for position. It will come through invitation and recognition. This transition will also bring emotional balance. God says there are relationships, responsibilities, and expectations that will naturally adjust once you are placed in the right environment. What once felt heavy will feel manageable. What once required constant effort will begin to flow more easily. This is not because life becomes effortless, but because you are finally positioned where effort produces fruit instead of fatigue. Do not underestimate how this shift will affect those connected to you. God says your stability creates stability for others. Your peace creates peace for your household. When one person steps into alignment, many are quietly blessed through it. That is why this relocation carries collective purpose. It is not only for advancement, but for covering. As you move forward, remember this: you do not need to rush, announce, or explain what is happening. Some blessings are meant to be lived before they are spoken. Continue to walk with humility, clarity, and patience. These qualities open the door, and they will keep it open. Let this final part rest with you as assurance. Nothing is being taken from you. Everything is being arranged for you. And when the change becomes visible, you will recognize it not by surprise, but by the deep sense of peace that confirms you are exactly where you are meant to be. If this message spoke directly to your heart, write Amen in the comments as a quiet confirmation of your faith. Please like, subscribe, and share this message with someone who needs reassurance today. Your action helps this message reach the right soul at the right moment.